Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, hopefully, we get Jay Shine over here. We're going to discuss how America took a nosedive. A lot of times, you guys don't understand. What's up, Fred? Long time no see. Uh, America, you guys don't understand how America took a nosedive. Reagan and Clinton destroyed a lot of American jobs, and white people who are getting angry, storming the Capitol, they are complicit in this problem because they did not want black people to have financial power. It happens every time. I'm not just making stuff up. This is history repeating itself because every time white people, and I try to tell white people this all the time, every time white people go against assisting black people in and black Americans in becoming more powerful, whenever white people put their interests in immigrants, it all goes backwards. England learned this lesson. This is why they got rid of their immigrants. England learned this lesson, which is why they start limiting immigrants. And this is what Brexit is all about. Well, this is the same thing. And white people are just not realizing that they're creating their own problems. When you got, just like Mr. Fantastic has been in the military for almost 20 years. To me, that's crazy. That's crazy that you got too many people helping white Americans stay afloat, and you get nothing but a house and a car in return. That's crazy. That's not power. And so what ends up happening a lot of times is when you look at the policies of Reagan and Clinton, they helped destroy everything. But white people on the GOP side will applaud Reagan. White people on the Clinton side will applaud Clinton. But the reality is, white folks did it to themselves. Ross Perot told all white people, give the jobs to the blacks. See, a lot of you guys don't know that. Fred might not know that. NC Worker, Mosman. Ross Perot said, give it to the black inner city. You still gonna make money, but don't outsource it. That's Reagan's idea. Let's go help China. Why go help China, Fred? Why go help China, Mosman? It all doesn't make sense. And this is the problem that Africans have as well over in Africa. Africans, I've been on a couple of Africans panels recently. Matter of fact, I'm going to change this channel to a real African and Black conversation piece. I'm going to get away from some of the other stuff. But this is where the problem even is with Africans. The Africans don't understand that they're so busy trying to be seen as just regular human beings. I'm up here researching the year 1600 and how the French took over the Ivory Coast. They took over the Ivory Coast because these guys kept giving them opportunity after opportunity. Shout out to D. Darrell in the house. How you doing? How do I feel about the state capitol riots? This is a repeat. This is Tulsa, Oklahoma all over again, where white people have went with Ronald Reagan, went with Clinton on these policies. And then turns out they can't control what they created. Ross Perot told everybody, keep it here. I'm going to go to what Jay Shine says. I was trying to get Jay Shine over here. Jay Shine says, the trickle-down economics was a scam. I want you to when you talk with white people, ask them, did Ronald Reagan's trickle down economics help? Because what was trickle down economics? It means that give all these immigrants your jobs. Remember, you guys used to be able to graduate high school and walk into a $60,000-$70,000 job, factory job, because everybody was buying from America. Jay Shine also says the rich has bought bigger houses, more boats, bigger boats, and nothing else has come about. Then those people die, and some immigrant comes in and takes over their stuff. You even got African immigrants feeling like, you know what, we we did it all. We did it all. And now that they see these white folks storming the state capitol, Jeremiah, I hear a bunch of Africans talk about we gonna leave and go back to Africa. So that's your idea, run? While you're wagging your finger at Jeremiah saying, look how easy I came over here and made money. Now that the situation is bad, now you're gonna run back to your grandfather's country. Okay. Fred says I didn't know that. Yeah, man, a lot of this stuff. Uh, yeah, you say no, don't help China, but that's what we keep doing. Nixon tried to help China. Reagan tried to help China. NAFTA is what was all about helping China. Does anybody know who Ross Perot is? I mean, he had a great debate with Gore saying, look, why do all that stuff? That stuff makes no sense. It's digging your own grave, right? But white people are so busy trying to stop Fred Onyx from having a great job that they weren't willing to get these immigrants over here, and the immigrants don't have your best interest at heart. Here's my solution. Black folks got to stop joining the military. Black folks got to stop helping white folks. It don't even make no sense. If anybody wants to come up and discuss politics, let me know. I'll give you an opportunity to come up. You can either use it through StreamYard or I got a telephone call in that we can do through Google Hangout. Look, here's what it is. Somebody says, I remember back Ross Perot was against NAFTA. Yes, because NAFTA got rid of all your jobs. This is what we got to start saying to white guys when they come into our spaces. Kenneth, right? Long time no see, man. This is what we got to start saying to whites when they come in our spaces. Whites got to start understanding, hey, look, your father's father helped create this nonsense. Okay, so Jeremiah, I am going to send you the invite for the call in. Look at your email. I'm going to send you that invite, Jeremiah, and that'll give you the ability to call in from your cell phone. So I'm hooking that up right now. Sending it to case manager. I'm sending it to case manager. Matter of fact, you still got an invite pending at case manager, sir. Go to case manager and answer your email, Jeremiah. Case manager, answer your email. What else was said? We're moving to a digital economy. We are not moving to a digital economy. You guys get out, get off of that stuff. You know how long we've been saying digital economy, bro? We are not moving to a digital economy. You cannot. It's impossible for you to move to a digital economy because everything is built on oil and gold. Matter of fact, let's be real, and I'm gonna talk to you from the chat room. How can we move to a digital economy when everything operates on oil and gold? Everything. You can't move to a digital economy. It's impossible because digital economy is what they say in the Wall Street world is speculation. Digital economy is speculation. You cannot move to that because everything on this planet operates on raw materials. You can't move to a digital economy. If it was proof that you can move, and this is why I hate when my black men follow these white talking points that are mathematically make no sense. It's a good theory, but you should not be repeating white people conversations that are mathematically impossible. So if we're moving to a digital economy, Why are we not trading cobalt through Bitcoin only? Because nobody's going to accept it. You guys got to be careful. I understand you guys feel like, digital stuff is the new age, and stuff is getting worse and worse and worse and worse, gentlemen. It's not getting better. Stuff is getting worse. Jeremy, we're still waiting for you to answer your email, Jeremy. Your email is pending at Case Manager. Still waiting for you to click yes on that email, Jeremy. But things are getting worse and worse and worse, fellas. Um, Things are not getting, extremely better because, like I keep saying, you guys, hold on for a second, see if I can hit him another way. All right, I'm trying to get Jeremy on, but yeah, you can't. We're not switching to a digital economy, gentlemen. It's not plausible because you can't track that. I don't know why people keep saying it. I mean, you can't even name a millionaire in digital who had no money 10 years ago because all of his money is on a server. It's not actual money. So you got more people losing than anything. Um, what's up, D Darrell? D Darrell, how you doing, man? I was waiting for Jay Sean to come in, but talk about the economy. See if I can get. Yeah, if you want to do the phone, D Darrell, we can do the phone. I got the. I'll hit you up through the phone and let you speak. So let's go on. So they're moving to a digital economy. No, you can't you can't call off student debt. So Jesus, this is another black folks listening to white folks. Okay, so here's why it's impossible for you to call student debt. The majority of your anybody in the chat room, the majority of your college debt comes from what one thing? What one thing takes up the most money in your college debt? And it ain't tuition. What is the number one thing that takes up majority of your debt? Anybody? Anybody can tell me what the majority of it ain't tuition. It ain't tuition. What is the number one thing? Because when you break tuition down like this, let's say you have, let's say you got 4 years and you're paying for a $50,000 degree. Most people pay less than that, but let's say you're paying for a $50,000 degree. So you're paying 10.2 every year. 10.2 every year. Let's just assume that for a second. You're doing 10,000 a year. Okay. Your books are going to cost more than 10,000. Your books are going to cost more than 10,000. Your books are going to cost more than 10,000, and your time and your possible dorms are going to cost more than 10,000. So most of your debt comes from your books, materials, and your sleeping situation. That's where most of it comes. Tuition does not take up the bulk of your college. And even if in some cases your tuition and your dorm is included in some colleges, your books still rack up the most money. You got to remember, you're taking 4 semesters of classes. These books are costing 100 minimum, 200, 300, $400, damn near $500 per book that you're only going to use for a few weeks. Then you go to the next class, got to buy more books. Then you go to the next class, got to buy more books. Then you go to the next class, got to buy more books. And that's just 1 year. So even if your tuition is 10 G's, you're going to pay at least 5 G's, three to 5 G's worth of books. You ain't no the president can't do nothing about your debt on books, because most of the time you can't even sell those books because the teachers change books every year. So what debt are you gonna what debt is the president gonna attack? He can make school tuition free. Okay, let's do tuition. All they're gonna do is transfer all the money to the books. You think let's say you get tuition free. All they're gonna do is transfer all your money to the books. Now the book that used to cost 100 is gonna cost 300. What's gonna stop them? What's gonna stop them from doing that? So this is what I'm talking about: losing battles. If you're in politics, you know that student debt is a losing battle. You can't do nothing with that because the teachers run the colleges and they got to get paid. The only thing, imagine if you were a manager. This is why I want people to be managers. Imagine if you were a manager. All you're going to do is, okay, you get tuition free, no problem. We're going to transfer all those dollars to the cost of these books. And we're going to change these books like every year, like we've been doing. Then what you gonna do? It's gonna be the same $50,000, except it's gonna be $50,000 in books. And then for those people who's like, oh, we'll sell a book or we'll copy pages. Yeah, you can do that, providing the teachers are not drastically changing books. A teacher can change a book every year. You guys, I swear, man, the whole tuition argument just doesn't hold water. Um, so throw in 1898 Wilmington insurrection. Also, you know, the thing, Maurice, we got to understand about us as Black people. We all got to be well more history research, because I've been talking to a lot of Africans over the past week and a half. Africans don't even know their own history, man. Africans are so stuck on, hey, we're from Vermont. We don't know how the rest of the country operates. We're from Vermont. Okay, you're from Vermont, but you're still American. You got to know how the rest of the country works. Oh no, we not American. We're from Vermont. Vermont is all we focus on. Well, see, when you got that mentality as an African, then it's easy to take over. It's easy to pitch you against each other. It's easy to this is why throughout the history, like I said, I've been checking out the 1600s. This is why people have taken over. This trade agreement Africa has right now, it's not going to help them. It's going to give them two different masters, Arabs and Chinese, and neither one of the Arabs nor Chinese care about them. Maurice said voted for him in '96. Oh, you mean '94? You mean '94? Oh, you mean going into the second? His second presidency, second 4 years. Kenneth, Black liberals are selling the Black community. Well, Black liberals are doing worse, Kenneth. Black liberals are actually, God, nobody's on the phone. Okay, trying to get somebody in. Black liberals are actually in a situation where, okay, put it this way, Kenneth. What is the Black Caucus for? What has the Black Caucus actually done? And all the time it's been up, working. What has the Black Caucus actually achieved? Have they fixed the EEOC problems for Black people? No. So they're not getting anything done. Black liberals got to be called out, and we meaning me, Black conservatives got to be called out, because we're not getting anything done. We're not getting anything done. Uh, DJ Cadillac said, "I'll discuss the military aspect." Well, come on up, DJ. Let's discuss the military. Send me your email and I'll send you a Google Hangout link, and you can do it through your phone. Um, yeah, if you've been in the military for 20 years, I mean, my thing is this: what's the purpose of being in the military that long? What's the purpose? I mean, you get a house, you get a car. What other purpose is there? Seriously, because if you like the action of the military, form your own private company, form your own security company, form your own black ops network. Why do you have to keep helping white folks? I mean, I would love to have somebody in the military explain what's the reason beyond getting a car and a house. What's the reason for doing several years in the military? Because all you're doing is going over to oppress other people to help white people take over. And you're going to the front line many a time. So I don't get it. They don't let most black people in the Air Force. So I don't get it. I mean, there are black people in the Air Force, but it's not like the meat grinder army. It's not like that. So I don't see the point. As nice as America has been to China, China would never do the same. China's never going to do it. China created a virus. That's what they did with your union money. They created a virus. I'm still waiting for you to call in, Jeremiah. 20 years in the Navy. DJ, come on in, man. Let's hold a conversation. Drop your email. D. Durrell says, good topic. Tech talk. Yeah, I mean, the problem is, okay, like going back to some technology talk. The problem with technology talk is what are black men creating in technology to take away from white folks? Where is your black Facebook? Where's your urban Facebook? Where are you waiting for the Latinos to create it so you can go work for them? Is that the whole point? Like when I see these guys get on these panels and talk about tech, okay. Hold on for a minute. Okay, you came in the other way. That's all good. What's going on, Jeremiah?
Nothing much. How you doing, Mr. Research?
Man, trying to give some of this political knowledge. I decided to change this channel because I got to get as far away from this manosphere childish shit as possible, man. This shit is pathetic. So I've been talking to Africans all week, having a lot of African discussions on, and that's the way I'm going to go. What are your thoughts on the Ronald Reagan and NAFTA and Clinton?
Well, as far as the Ronald Reagan, the trickle down theory always been a facade. It was,
wait. You didn't get none of that Ronald Reagan money?
Oh no. I was born in the late 80s, so I wouldn't even know enough to touch the money.
Because it never even existed.
No, it never existed.
Right.
What I was saying about the digitized economy was that it's going to move more towards digital. I'm not saying it's ever going to be completely a digital economy. That's all I was.
Oh, so how do you believe it's going to move toward digital?
Well, as far as everything, as you can see, like particularly because the main minerals and resources, they already, let's say, people that run, certain families that run the global economy already have the material, and they don't need to move anything over. They're just going to make the money is just an asset or just a tool for what the real resources are. But I don't believe the economy will ever be a total digital economy because you're absolutely right. There's no way that you can actually even put that or fathom that on paper. It's just like, say, remember the movie Suicide Squad? Will Smith said he didn't have no money. He put money on his phone. They transferred a big amount or wired a big amount of money, and he had like $1 billion or something like that. Mm-hmm. So they can say you have it. But in actuality, you really don't have any
speculation. That's why I just asked you. That's why I just asked you how, because really that's speculation. So if I say you got a castle in France, okay, and I sign over the paperwork to you, you really do have a castle in France. But the moment you take ownership, all the back taxes is going to hit you, and they not going to be digital. All the current property shit is going to hit you, and that's not going to be digital. And so it's like you own it, yeah, but you can't afford it.
Well, and just like you said, if they're going to cancel the student debt, I can see that some of it, or a good portion of that's very feasible. But what I'm saying, the actual degree don't go down, because the whole price of degree was everybody going to college that paid that price. Now, if everyone can get that, that's like a high school diploma. It means nothing. It's absolutely worth it.
Yeah, but even with that said, let's remove that side of the argument. The whole point is, I, as a teacher's college, because I'm not part of the teachers union, I'm a college unto myself. I'm just going to raise the price of books.
Well, most teachers that when I went to college, they wrote some books.
They
Those
what?
Professors that wrote some books, the 6th edition, the 7th
edition. No. Let me stop you. Let me take you behind the scenes. Okay. The colleges have a business relationship with book printers. Every year, the staff of the math department, staff of the English department, they get together and decide on what new books they're going to add for the upcoming school year. That's why you never see the same books year after year.
Right.
So the only thing they do is, because they have a business relationship with Bain and Bain, I'm just going to raise the price of the books. What's to stop me? What's to stop me? If you paid $100 for a book last year, 2 years, I give you 2 years, because sometimes one or two books repeat, but 2 years they definitely gone. You pay for a book 2 years that was $200. What's to stop me from charging you $450? That's the book you got to use to take this class, right?
Right.
And then let's say you don't do it and you just pay somebody who bought the book and make copies, what they going to be charging you? So you never really... So I guess my point is, you never really get truly rid of the debt. You can get rid of the interest, but now a lot of people get student debt by getting on these student cards, these student visas and what have you, student MasterCards with 28, 32% interest. How are you going to stop that?
May I interject?
Go ahead.
Well, the government can reduce, or because most of the debt is coming from interest being charged. So they right now, as with part of the stimulus package, they can stop most of the interest accumulating at this point right now.
How?
So what they're really doing, they're not stopping the debt; they're just stopping the interest that's just accumulating from the actual debt.
But how? How can you stop the interest? How?
Because the interest, if you don't make a certain payment each month, the interest will go and rise higher.
Okay, maybe
there's an actual debt that you borrowed, and there's actual interest that's passed on to it. That's not the actual debt; it's just collected from the interest.
Right. Where do you think the money's coming from? Let's start there.
Where it's coming from? It's coming from whoever makes the rules. That's where it's coming from.
So how can, okay, so if I lend you $20,000, how can the government stop me from collecting 26% interest?
Because the government, okay, so say if you get a private loan.
That's why I said I give you $20,000, yeah.
Right, so say you don't get a student loan from the government, you get it from a private bank.
Well, hold on. You cannot get a loan from the government.
No, you can't, because the banks actually run to some degree the government. But what they did, the government told the banks that we can take over and we can allocate this money a little bit better. Just let us, because it was a time that the government never even got into student loan. It was the bank beforehand.
Okay, I have never heard of this before. Go ahead.
Yeah. Before it was the government never dealt with loan and loaning out money. You used to go back in the 70s to an actual bank, and they will loan you the money for the student loan, but they did it at a low price. And many state colleges were free back then, such as California, Illinois, New York. So that's before that. So a lot of people you're saying they're in the 60s or 70s now, they walked away very little to no debt.
All right, so you are saying that the government gives loans for school.
No, the bank actually, because if you look at it, the bank still runs it, but they told, it's just like saying you run a business and the state say, hey, we can run the business. Federal government just let us loan us the money. We will allocate it. And the federal government has nothing else to do with it after they give that particular agency or state that money. But they're the one who gave that money. So such thing as the bank, i.e. the bank. The bank give them that money. We have nothing to do with it. Now, if you want to forgive a certain amount of interest, you're in charge of what interest you want to charge with them. We give you the money to allocate to these students because it was a time that the government never got involved with student loan debt. It was the banks. You used to go to a Bank of America, JP Morgan to get an actual student loan.
And
that's why the student loan crisis is all out, because the government was just giving out money, freely. Here you go. Everybody can go to school. That's why they're talking about let's make college free now.
Okay, so those are grants, but I guess my question is, where'd you get this information that government gives out payback loans?
I didn't say the government gives out payback loans. They give out the student loans for them to go to school.
Okay, this is confusing because a grant. Okay, what's the difference between a grant and a loan?
A grant is free. You don't have to owe anything back. That's based off your income.
So what is it?
Say if you get a Pell Grant, that's why they said let's increase the Pell Grants, because you have to be almost dirt poor to get a Pell Grant. So they'll give you a Pell Grant. They look up your parents' information, how much they make, how much you make, and they'll give you a certain amount to go to school. So if you make this very least amount of money, or you're below the poverty line, they'll give you a lot of money for a Pell Grant. That's why they're saying, because a Pell Grant you don't have to owe it back. A student loan you do.
Okay, I understand that. I'm trying to get what you're calling a loan. So how are you, if you understand, like I understand, that a grant comes from the government or a private person, and you're saying a loan, you're using the word loan, comes from the government through the bank?
Well, like I said, I'm not saying it comes through the bank. Many of the banks we get the banks, like I said, the Federal Reserve. It's not an actual Federal Reserve currency or that, but a lot of money gets printed through it. But it's not an actual government entity, but it's an actual central bank. But when they loan the government or give the government the money, the government allocated how they want. They have nothing else to do with it. Just like a state agency, the federal government gives them money. After the state allocates the money how they want to allocate it, the federal government has nothing to do with it.
All right, so let me give you my version, because I've never heard what you're talking about. So banks are private. They're not connected to the government at all. What has happened since Bernie Frank, I'm just talking policy, is that the taxpayers have upheld the banks because of the last 2008 crisis. And therefore, the banks have a vested interest, but the government is only doing that to move the economy. Keyword, to move the economy. A student is not a vested interest for the government to move the economy and use tax dollars. So
absolutely not.
So where is this money going to come from? Because what it appeared, I could be wrong.
This is how I see it at. A lot of students that have been having student loan debt, I guess they want them to be, refrigerated into society, and so they can be able to put money into the economy, buy homes, buy bigger things. So let's relieve them of trying to debt what they're saying, even though it doesn't really help the economy essentially that much, but a little will help, and they'll get rid of that so they can go out there and start buying homes, cars, houses, instead of just being, a 40-year-old something person with a load of student debt.
Okay.
Over 100,000. Let's say if you go to law school, that's over 100,000 student loan debt. Dentistry school.
So
over 100,000 medical.
So we're going to agree to disagree on that, because the policy will not let you do that. The only way you can get rid of a student debt legally is that you create bigger, you tax more in through FICA in an effort to create a bigger reservoir of water of money that you can give more Pell Grant or direct government grant loans, so that you don't have to go through a bank. But nobody's.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Finish. Oh, absolutely. And that's what I really don't care about it. That's what he said. He's going to tax richer people because of that. So he's going to get, and there's only 200-something thousand people they're going to take to make over that 500,000.
But the problem with that's not getting rid of the current interest. You're just creating a better loan system. You're not.
That's all.
Yeah, you're not getting rid of the current interest. So if you're in debt 40,000, unless you're going to make something retro, where a person can say, well, yeah, I guess you could do that through policy, but that's going to take 8 years to implement through Congress, because Congress ain't going to go for that. You're going to retro money through taxes. Oh man, that sounds like a bigger tax hike. Because you just can't, just on its face. My point is, just on its face, you cannot do anything about the interest. Just on his face. But to your point, if you go back the other way and you say, okay, I'm going to tax at a higher rate, collect that money over 2.5 years, and then use that to ease the burden. But now the question is, even if we agree on that, now the question to me is, at what percentage are you going to have access to funds? Because the way I know the way policy works, they're going to say, okay, we gave you 10%. We did our job.
Right. And like I said, it's a bunch of jargon. It's the way they word things, the way they word deals. So we're not going to charge you this high interest, or it looks like we forgave it, but we're going to, instead of doing it at a 7% interest, we're going to do it at a 2. So, we're just going to knock it down to a lower interest rate.
Right. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing.
So, and people think, he's coming in for gifts, because what I'm saying right now is, even with the stimulus, it's going to be debt that children grandchildren going to have to pay off for years. But what I'm saying is this. All he's saying is, I'm forgiving debt, because the masses understand, don't forgive that easy. But if he put it in legal or actual policy jargon, all he's really saying, I'm going to lower the interest rate. And it's going to be more than 10,000, because we got an all-Democratic Congress right now. They're going to try to really push through some radical. Unless
one of the Democrats do what they did to Obama, because remember, it was the Democrats that stopped health care. Obama first 2 years.
The way I think Biden is, he's more of a conservative Democrat. I think we got more of a liberal Congress, and we had more of a liberal president and a more conservative Congress this time. I think it's going to be the opposite. They're going to push everything through, and they really don't need him to sign it. They're going to bypass the majority of the Senate is Democrat and the House.
What did you think of Biden and his no cash bail?
His no cash bail? Could you explain that?
Oh, so Biden pushed, it's from his 2008 crime bill. Biden, when he was trying to run, before Obama defeated him, but what he tried to say was cash bail is the problem with the police and what have you, and he wants to get rid of cash bail. It ended up failing. I mean, it failed in California, but I think it passed in other places. He wants to get rid of cash bail, and then what you'll do is you'll go through a computer system, and that computer system will see if you qualify. Then, if you qualify, you go to a judge, and then if that judge has some criteria which you and I don't know about, and then that will determine whether you get bail or not. If not, you cannot just cash yourself out anymore. You can't go through a bail bondsman, and you can't pay your way out of jail to come back to court. You would just have to sit in jail, and wait till your court date.
That sounds like another way they can collect interest, and here's another way. We're not gonna get you in the wash, we're gonna get you in the rent. So if you get locked up, we're gonna make money off you regardless. That's how we pay this off too as well. But they gonna come up with one situation where they're gonna lower some or forgive some. Trust me, they're gonna hike it up somewhere else.
Yeah, but what that'll do is it'll lock up more people than
exactly.
You'll have to bring back private jails with the next president, because you'll have so many people in the system just sitting around waiting for a court date.
Well, it's no coincidence why they put in.
But these are the Democrats. But these are the Democrats, though.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I know exactly what the Democrats are about, and there's a reason why we have a vice president as a cop, and we have I want to say he's not necessarily a cop, but he made the 94 crime bill, and look out, it's going to be on the slide. A lot of bills can pass through that's going to make it. This is not a time to be going to jail or prison. They're going to make money off.
Okay, so Maurice in the chat room says the government loans are FHA loans now. The FHA loans have repayment terms, but those are still through banks. I don't know how they're connected to the government though, because those are bank affiliated loans. But nevertheless, I mean, I don't know why people are saying those are government. Those are mortgage loans. I don't know. I don't know how we're saying that's connected to the government, because that's a bank. That's a bank credit. You can go get one of those through a credit union. Because, but okay, people are saying those.
Well, I believe the government has like different programs for people at a certain income. They want to own a home or buy a home, and they'll upfront them a certain amount of money, $10,000, and that's where you get your FHA loan from.
I guess the confusion for me is people are. One thing I'm trying to say is, let's try not to do off what we heard, because
no, this is what I researched. That's what an FHA loan is. You'll get an upfront from the down payment of the home, so they'll give you $10,000.
No. He's talking about it's for college.
Oh, I haven't heard of nothing of that. What I understand is, if they're going to forgive something, they're going to lower the interest.
No. Marcus says the student loans are like the FHA loans now. Okay, they're like the FHA loan. Okay, I got it now. I don't know. I hope it works out, because, like I said, because I talked to a couple of financial advisors at college recently, and none of this stuff is what you guys are talking about. So I don't know. Maybe the college people got a different understanding, but from my understanding, this is going straight through a bank. But it does look like it's government, but it's actually through a bank. And then I'm just confused. If it is through a bank, maybe I'm wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. But if it is through a bank, then that means that the government can't help you. if it's through a private company.
I think you missed the point is, like I said, it's a central bank called the Federal Reserve. Dallas have one.
Yeah.
Illinois has one.
Everybody got one.
Yeah. Every state has one. So what they're saying is, it's kind of like what I just said. The federal government loans the state government money or give them money. You decide what you want to do with it. So if you want to forgive somebody of them loans, that's on you, the state. We have nothing to do. We already gave you the money for that physical year. That's why states are like, oh, we're running out of our budget. Well, we gave you enough that you can work off of. You spent the money incorrectly. So that's the same thing with the banks to the federal government. Hey, we need to print up more money because this, that, and the third. So if you print up more money, you cause it more debt. So that's why they, after a while, the Federal Reserve sometimes tells the federal government, no, we're going to hold off on QE this, QE2 and all that because we just gave y'all some money. You're spending it up too quick. Mm. That's why they did that $900 billion or whatever stimulus, because they had to get rid of that money because government money has to be spent.
Yeah.
You can't hold on.
Yeah. Maurice says, let me say this right. The student loan is done by a bank. Okay. Well, Maurice says student loan is done by a bank. Okay. Well, however they plan on doing it, I just don't, I guess I've been around politics so long that I really look at the details of a policy. I tell everybody to go to congress.gov because people will say stuff and, this goes to this Ronald Reagan discussion. And then years, decades later, ain't nothing moved. It actually got worse.
Oh, it's getting worse every day. It's getting worse every day. So it's like what is it? 140,000 people lost their jobs in December, and most of them were female.
Well, you know what? It's kind of like what me and my mother talked about, because she's 80. It just seems like the policies, like they made more money back in the 80s. They made more money back in the 60s. You looking at the money they made back then compared to now, it's first of all, and this ain't no hate to immigrants. I'm just keeping it real. We got too many people. Okay, let me say it like this. I was speaking to some.
I'm agreeing with your point. I'm just trying to see if you can.
I was talking to some Africans, and they kept talking about the opportunities we got here, and how they don't see themselves as Black, and they don't, all that type of stuff, right? And when this thing of the state capitol came up, oh man, sure, I'm gonna get my passport and go back home. And I said, see,
the funny thing?
No. Let me just finish. I said, and see, that's that bullshit right there. You come over here and you wag your finger about you're making money. Any slave can do that. You come over here, I'm making 30 an hour and I'm forcing this business owner to do right by me. You come over here and make $20 an hour, jump for joy, wiggle your butt on how good you're doing, and then when it's time to defend America, you run. Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead.
And the funny thing you brought up Africans, when I do, sometimes I work for overnight job, they was talking about that as well. Some Africans work there, although they attacked the Capitol and blah, blah, this and that. And it was a guy that I guess was like, he's American, but he's Haitian background. I'm talking about, oh, look at Trump attacking Lady Liberty. I'm like, where do y'all getting from when you coming over here and talking about Lady Liberty? You haven't been around African Americans. There's no liberty like that. What are you talking about? So y'all come from these countries, y'all got a different perception of this place. And when stuff goes bad, you're ready to fly back to Jamaica and all this, where a lot of people don't understand. Them people are really poor over there.
Yeah.
People don't get it in Haiti and Jamaica and Cuba and Dominican. Everybody, you be a nice Dominican girl. I don't know why you trick over there, but you don't want to trick over here.
So because they're so poor that any money seems like great.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm checking out the the Prince of Ivory Coast, right? I can't pronounce his name right now, but this is in the 1600s, and I'm up here reading this whole thing. This guy, he's at war with other Black people. Okay, you always talking about the gold you got, and you got rivers of gold. Okay, anytime you say that, you're going to attract people who want to get it. But then your father realizes he can't even defend the borders. Oh, City of Truth is coming in. City of Truth, where you go? And your father realizes he can't defend the borders on the water that he lives on. Let me say this again. You don't have no ships. You got all this gold. You got a bunch of black people that don't swim, and you don't have no ships. Shouldn't that be the first thing you get? Teach your people how to swim, get you some ships.
Right.
Shouldn't that be the first thing? And so, City of Truth, we're about to come to you. And so here he is. He's the prince of the Ivory Coast. He goes over to France to beg for ships. Wait, do you not understand war? Why are you putting yourself in that position? We're going to talk about that in a minute. Let's go to City of Truth. We were talking about Reagan, City of Truth. We were talking about NAFTA. We were talking about trickle down. We were talking about student loans. City of Truth, where do you fit in? City of Truth. City of Truth. His thing keeps dropping. Well, we'll proceed. So he goes over there begging for ships. Wait a minute. Most of your people don't even swim. So guess what he had to do? Get white people to come over to sail the ships. I'm really, the more I talk to Africans, the more I'm realizing they don't understand warfare. City of Truth, we finally got you. Is your connection working? What's going on? I hear you. City of Truth? All right. Well, we're going to have to, whenever you get your situation right, man.
All right. Hello?
Okay. Go ahead, City of Truth. Speak up.
Yeah. But my only thing is, you're very astute with how you, observe different things geopolitically in the world, and you have a very interesting perspective. But me
What about
personally,
the topic? What about the topic?
Yeah. What I'm saying is that me personally, as far as when it comes to the whole African thing, some Africans may feel like that about going back because of the political instability. But I don't see a mass number of them doing that. I may be a few of them that feel like that, but I don't see a lot of them doing that because too many of them are making money here to do that.
So you believe they will stay here and fight?
I think they will stay here and they're gonna if they want to keep making money, they will, I think.
Well, I was on a panel full of African men who said they would just use their passport and go back home. So they're going against
now,
what you said.
Where was this panel at? Because you be going to these panels, you be telling us about this panel. Where was this panel at? Who was the host of the panel?
Bijan Noir.
Okay, and so I mean, I'm not surprised. But were they just saying that, or did they actually get the passports and were they about to get on the plane and leave, or were they just saying that?
I'm going to tell you what he said. Man, all this stuff going on here. I'll just get my passport and go back home.
Okay, well, that was one guy. Was that the whole panel?
Was a couple of guys. There was a couple of guys saying that.
Yeah, but you just said that he said. So you're saying that this one guy said this.
I gave you an example of one. Let me give you an example of the 5 people that said it, because you're going on these particulars. So one guy said that. Another guy said, "I'm just here to make money. I'm not, this ain't my country." And then there was a big argument about that. Another guy came in later and critiqued all the people of saying that stuff, and he's living in Africa. He says, "Hey, if you're going to go there, you shouldn't be trying to boast about these type of things." Another guy said, what did that funny dude say? He said, "You guys don't realize that America is just a place to get money. It's not a place to settle at. It's not your home." So those are some of the things. Before we go back to Jeremiah, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, well, my thing is this. if that is the case, then as ADOS, what are we doing to prepare ourselves to if they do leave, if the Africans and stuff and the immigrants and stuff do leave,
That's
how are
not
we
my question.
preparing ourselves
That's not my question, though. That's not my question. My question is, how do you feel about the people saying those things?
I don't care. If
Hmm.
that's how they feel. I don't concern myself with the feelings of other people. If that's how they feel, that's how they feel. I focus on myself and I focus on those around me. I can't speak for them. Only they can speak for them. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? I can only speak for myself. You know. So if they leave, my whole thing is, as a business minded person, if they do leave, how do I occupy the niche that they have vacated? You see what I'm saying? That's the question that needs to be asked.
Well, I heard that. What are your thoughts, Jeremiah,
On
on what City of
not
Truth
being
just said?
loyal.
No, I don't know what you call it. I mean, on what City of Truth just said. I mean, he said, fill the void.
Well, it depends what void you're feeling like. Some of them may be professionals, others may be not professionals. They're just working as a job. So you have to be skilled or educated in a particular setting to fill that void.
Here's the pushback I have on what City of Truth has raised on that matter. You don't, again, this is just me understanding warfare. You don't allow people in who don't have a vested interest to protect as a group. And you just don't. This is why Africans are getting used. This is why ADOS people are getting used. We're too busy focused on getting a coin. Everybody wants a coin and a biscuit. It's not about that. It's about trying to corner the market. Everybody likes to talk about market, free market, and all that. Corner the market. Create a situation. One of the reasons why I'm the only black guy at my job is because I cornered the market for what I do as a black man. The other black men that I'm connected with on LinkedIn are in like Michigan, a couple in Georgia. It ain't that many black men who even do what I do. And
you know what else?
Go ahead.
May I interject a point? I hate to say this, but if you know, I work a job, and even in some jobs that have trading, the job is paying money or it has you can excel in that career when you see white guys, Asian guys doing it.
Yeah.
You see a bunch of black folks doing it, even if it's a trade. Say it's something else, a trade. You see white guys doing it, you can make money in that field. When you see a bunch of, it is certain careers and jobs that only black people do, there's not much movement in it. And I hate to say that, but that's a fact. That's
well, we're going to go back to City of Truth in a second. I think a lot of times it's not movement because, like, when I talk to non-blacks, they look at blacks as servants. They don't look at blacks as thinkers. They look at blacks as people who like to work with their hands, and they exploit that. Go ahead, City.
You know why? You know why that is, Mr. Research? You know why? Because whenever a black kid is smart, or whenever a black kid likes to read books and study and stuff like that, we tell that kid that he's acting white. That's what we do to that kid.
That's true.
That's why we're seeing that way.
Which is fulfilling Massa's plantation dream, because
exactly.
He wanted a bunch of chicken Georges. He didn't want anybody like want to be free and run and what have you.
Exactly. So it's up to us to change that. We can't blame nobody else but us.
Well, that's why I spend my time trying to go into different panels and different conversations, because it's pathetic, man, how like I said, I didn't realize, Jeremiah, that Africans got mad at Beyonce for that I Am King movie.
Oh, I've seen commercials about it, but I never watched it. But why are they mad about that?
Oh, you're trying to promote this Wakanda stuff. We do not see ourselves as black. These are a bunch of Twitter people. You can't take Twitter people seriously. But yeah. I'm like, why would y'all go out of y'all way to say that? And then I raised this point, City of Truth, on the panel full of African people. I said, you know what? That's just like Islam. I said, you guys, some of you guys practice Islam, and that's not even an African religion; it's an Arab religion. I don't get.
Yeah.
I don't get why you somebody come in. You do what you're told to do. The African American comes in. Here go a minister, land minister of Gambia. Do not sell these Americans your land. City of Truth. What are your thoughts, man? Then we'll go back to Jeremy.
All right. Yeah, hold on. I'll be right back. Yeah. So, did you want me to respond to the stuff about what you were saying about the immigrants, like why they bring them over here and that kind of stuff?
Why they bring them over here? Oh, you mean Democrats?
No, you were talking about the immigrants.
Yeah, Democrats fight. Democrats NAFTA brought the immigrants over here through NAFTA.
But what I said is this. Is that if you really study immigration, you'll find that immigration has nothing to do with Democrats or Republicans. That is a deep state issue. That has to do with the State Department. Okay, it has to do with the fact that corporations, okay, lobby the government for immigrants, for cheap labor and stuff like that. It has to do with a lot of things that have nothing to do with which party is actually in power, but the parties go along with it. Okay, but you need to understand that a lot of that stuff, it has a lot to do with a lot of the deeper levels of our government, the deep state and that kind of thing. And as far as you understand that the United States is a globalist country, whether you like it or not, Mr. Research, whether I like it or not, okay, it's a globalist country. Just like when in a previous live stream, you were talking about Rome. You said once Rome got to a certain point, they started having foreigners come in and make money and fight their wars for them and stuff like that. And I've always said that's just a consequence of reaching a certain amount of power. Once you become a superpower and stuff like that, you're going to be dealing with foreigners. You're going to be dealing with people from other countries. You're going to be bringing foreigners in who have, certain skills and stuff that you need. Sometimes it's more economical to bring foreigners in to do something than to train your own people. Sometimes it's like that. Okay, so that's what we're really looking at here. Now, if we want to talk about dissecting it, yeah, we can talk about dissecting it and that kind of thing. How do we change our political system, that kind of thing, to address that? But like I said, there's already a trend of like the United States isn't bringing as many immigrants as it has in previous decades. They're still bringing them, but they're not bringing them like they used to, though. And a lot of these people, you are right, they come to America now, and now they are going back to their own country and building up their own country. Okay, so that is something that actually is happening. A lot of immigrants, a lot of Indians and stuff are going back to India and building companies and stuff in India. So that's what I have to say.
So I will say this: half of what you said is true as far as history is concerned. I look at stuff through history. I don't just go off how I think presently. Just like one of the African guys was like, "Why do you always talk about history? Why not just talk about now?" And I just feel like for the state of warfare, when you go into a meeting on Monday or Wednesday, you got to go in with prior conversations of the history of the company, where that has to be part of what you're saying. So your part about the Democrats, that's just blatantly untrue, because majority of the Democrats are the ones who have gone on record passing these immigration policies. I can't find no Republican who has championed these policies. But You know, so I just think that's a fallacy. Jeremiah, what are your thoughts before we go to King Sigma? What are your thoughts?
Oh, that is true. Many of the Democrats, Obama sent back a lot of him. So I don't think people know that.
Oh yeah, yeah, shot a whole bunch of that. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. So as far as I think what Mr. Research is trying to convey is, you come over here, you're not. If you're gonna come over here and be American, you come over to get money. Yes, America, that is true. This is a country to make money, but you will be very offended if people will come to your country that's supposed to be black, but someone Asian comes to your country and here just to take up the natural resources. You have no problem with that. But like, say someone that's from African descent or something like that, and they'll come over just trying to suck up the resource, you will have a problem with that.
Well, that's why I made the point that the land minister in Gambia don't want people buying property. So it's the same thing. You don't want you coming over as an American ADOS to be part of the economy, and you want to bring your business and you want to buy property, and here's an African saying, hey, don't, for the first time, I'm going to say, don't sell it to them. Now, all the time these Chinese and French was here, I said nothing. But now that these guys are here, I'm going to say, don't. Go ahead and finish, Jeremiah.
Oh, no, and I think that's the point. When they're coming over here and they want to ransack, they're not loyal to anything. I'm just here to get money, then want to say innuendos and say very bad things about ADOS. But when stuff turned bad, they seen the Revolutionary War and acting like Robert E. Lee attacking the Capitol. Now they're getting their panties in the bunch and run the fly back to Africa.
Sad thing for me is, and I said this on the panel with a bunch of Africans. I said this to O'Shea through the chat room of his Kinganda channel. Africans run too much. It's like Cameroon. Arabs want to take it. Oh, we're running. What are you running for? Pick up a sword. You know what I'm saying? It's like they constantly running away, and you I got one video of a dark-skinned guy in Morocco got beat up for talking to a woman.
Wow.
Imagine Morocco, a place that used to be known as Carthage, used to be all dark-skinned people or dark and brown people. Wasn't no Arabs at that time. The Arabs came in after the fall of the French War. And here you go. Now you getting slapped for sitting on a stoop talking to a woman. They just beat me. They just beat me for talking to a woman. It is unfair. And that's why I think this black on black stuff is going to ultimately get us. Go ahead and finish, Jeremiah. Then I'm going to King Sigma, back to City of Truth. 30 seconds, Jeremiah.
Of course. Well, I think if I can, convey it or articulate it in 30 seconds. With the Africans coming over here, they letting nations come over and ransack the country. In some cases, in a lot of cases, lay up with their women. But if it's someone from ADOS, they got problems with it. And it's very hypocritical from what I'm understanding, from what you're trying to convey to the audience out here today. And it sounds very cowardly how they're coming off of things, but they like to come over here and whack their fingers when they're not doing nothing. It's really just being another work, if I'm correct or not.
Well, that's why I'm changing this channel to a black and African conversation, because it really disturbed me, man. I was on these channels, and the white people don't even think the way black Africans think, and it's a trip. King Sigma.
I'll
go ahead.
use as a point. You'll have a better chance even laying up with an Arab woman as an ADOS man than laying up with some of these African women.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I don't know about that one, bro. I think it depends on what area of the country you're in. What area of the country are you in right now?
Jeremiah, what area of country?
I'm not even nowhere near.
No, he said, what area of the USA are you in?
What region of the country are you in?
Who?
Southwest.
Southwest what?
Oh, okay. Now the Southwest.
Yeah, Southwest, currently Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah. See, the thing is, though, you got to understand, Jeremiah, is that like the Southwest, y'all haven't really picked up a lot of the African population to the extent that places like sanctuary cities like Arizona didn't have the sanctuary city policy that certain parts of the Midwest, the East Coast, and certain parts of like California and Texas, which you'll be surprised like how many Africans are in cities like Denver, Seattle, San Diego, the Twin Cities, Chicago, New York, DC, and Maine. And if you're in those areas and you're a black male professional, a lot of those African women, they're actually choosing very quickly. Because what I've noticed is that with a lot of those women, that they have two things going. One, they come from patriarchal societies and the religious influence, but also a lot of them come from that situation of scarcity from refugee camps, right? Because like, in the 90s, there was a lot of like, especially like in East Africa, with a lot of their wars, you get a lot of those women here and they see a black man, because you got to understand, they already have an imprint of black men being attractive because they come from a culture where the men are brown-skinned men. So when they see that you're actually able to succeed in the environments that, again, it's no secret to anyone that lives in America that black men have it the worst. No one wakes up and like, oh, black men have it great, because everyone knows what goes on privately in work environments when a black man shows up in any kind of competitive environment.
Yeah,
we're never welcome. We have to prove ourselves, which is fine. But those women see that, and then believe me, at least out here in the Midwest, they are the best option for a lot of black men because they're in your workplace, like you guys were talking about, and they understand what male leadership is. And they also, again, they're attracted to black men because that's what they're raised by. But the standard is just that there's the image that is put out of black men by the Hollywood media up into the last 10 years. Is, again, this conversation we're having now, this is regular black men speaking with their own voice. And I keep bringing this up to people. Never in history of the United States have black men had the technology to match the moment where any black man with internet access can reject anything said about black men or himself publicly in this way. So you just got to be an anti-stereotype, and you'll notice that you're crazy as hell if you don't think these African women are choosing up. At least where I'm at, they're choosing up big time, bro.
Oh, yeah. If they, the biggest thing, right back to King Sigma, City of Truth, I want to see what you think about what King Sigma just said, because City of Truth.
May I interject one quick
Go ahead, Jeremiah.
What I'm saying is that Africans, they're definitely choosing up. But what I'm saying, from my experience, I learned a lot of Africans that come from some of them Central African countries and West African countries have the more negative stereotypes.
Yeah, that's true.
And Egyptian, because a lot of Egyptian women, they're not Arab. They look just, some of them look just like Eritrean women and Ethiopian.
But let me interject this, Jeremiah. The problem is that they get their information about black people from TV.
Right.
They get their information about black Americans from Walter Maya. You see what I'm saying? So they don't get there. That's why I say I'm going to start just holding a lot of African and black conversations and get away from some of this other stuff. Because what I realized is a lot of African men don't like to be intellectually or research challenged. They don't like to have those type of conversations. Let me go to the City of Truth. How do you feel about what King Sigma said about the women, City of Truth?
Now, can you briefly reiterate what he said? Because I was doing two things at once.
I'm sorry. So he was saying that how certain African women are choosing up on men out here, and they're really going after, depending on where you live, they're going after a certain demographic of guy. What's been your experience in regards to that?
I mean, that's not surprising. I mean, hypergamy been going on since the beginning of time. So, I mean, why is that a surprise?
Well, I think it's a surprise to a lot of brothers, and I'm not saying that Jeremiah is surprised, but I just think that he's in certain areas because the amount of propaganda, right, that's been unloaded and unleashed against black men forever in America, for example. This is the first time that we had a generation of black men, starting as young as ages of 18 or whatever, who are speaking for themselves and rejecting it. And it shows you how much of a monopoly that the Hollywood and the schools and corporate America had against black men, that they could put out these poor images of black men, how they promoted the thug image, the anti-intellectual image, and then within the own communities themselves, they started to imitate that over the last 3 or 4 generations, to an extent that the world really believed that black men were these urban troglodytes, right? And what's happened is that, with the election of Barack Obama, and the spreading of the internet, and now this whole platforming thing where anyone basically can create a platform and speak, people are starting to see, wait. These black men, when they speak for themselves, they are articulate, they make great points, and they actually have to be more critical thinkers, because the assumption is that we don't read. The assumption is that we can't think for ourselves. So we know that when we come to these spaces, that we have to be sharper than anyone else. And the world is waking up to that, because they don't no longer have a monopoly on the conversation anymore. That's what I'm trying to say, is that so the image has been so destroyed of black men that this is the first time that all these groups in the world have ever seen Native Black American men speak for themselves. Everyone else has been speaking for us. The black feminists had the monopoly through the media for a long time. Think about it. CNN, they don't have the pool that they had 30, 40 years ago, because now people are coming to these spaces. If you can get 10 viewers in a conversation like this, that's more than the average black man could get 20 years ago. You are always in a controlled environment. You might can go to a church, that's a controlled environment. You can go to a neighborhood meeting, that's a controlled environment. It's only within this cyberspace that black men can put up their own flag and say, hey, this is where I stand on this issue. Here's my evidence. And it's unfiltered, right? For the most part, it's unfiltered.
Yeah, I think well, I want to piggyback on what King Sigmund said. Yeah, black men don't realize how powerful they are in this internet space, man, because our voices are now being transported across the whole world, and now everyone can hear our message, and we don't have to go through a middleman like the mainstream media and stuff like that. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because that means that as time goes on, the mainstream media will become less and less relevant, and our voices will become more and more relevant. And it's just a matter.
My only problem with that, I think black men have to beware that your weakest voices are not your loudest. Black men got to beware, because what I notice is that the ghetto, there's a lot of dudes that are still very ghetto. And a person like Yuckmouth can be seen as the number one person that black people rush to. And Yuckmouth is not a dumb person, and he doesn't speak bad. But imagine a person named Yuckmouth becoming who non-blacks view as the voice of black men.
Good point. That's a damn good point. Because again, it would be the same thing. It would be the same thing that's been happening. They used to have a term for that called the zip cone. It would be the same thing where you're taking like the worst kind of version and then promoting that as the standard. And you definitely have to reject that, because it would just be taking that power out of Hollywood's hands, and then you kind of doing it in a crowdfunding way, supporting the wrong prophet. So it's like, that's one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of Mr. Neely Fuller, because he's always talking about not following leaders, especially with black people, and having a message and a mission and just sticking to that logic. And that's it. Because there's always someone that either the higher ups are trying to anoint, or the less thinking people will just, instead of them taking responsibility, for themselves and for the conversation, they're looking for someone else to put that responsibility on. And that's how you end up propelling someone like a Yuckmouth, or I'm looking at some of the names of some of these rappers now today that are like in their early 20s, the Baby, Little Nigga Baby, Baby. I'm like, ridiculous. I'm thinking, it's ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. Shit,
I want you guys to hear something real quick, and then I'm gonna let Jeremiah respond. This is a guy in Africa, Morocco, Africa, complaining on how he's getting treated by the Arabs. And this is a place that was once predominantly Berber Africans and Liberians.
Don't like we blacks. We don't have right for many things. You can't sit. You can't talk to a woman. You cannot talk to a woman. It's not allowed here in Morocco. They don't give out job to black people. Even if you have the qualification, even if you are capable of doing the job, they can't give the job to a black man here in Morocco.
His outrage over constant discrimination is shared by many other migrants.
They call us monkeys when we were all equals. We have the same red blood flowing in our veins. Even women spit when we walk by.
Okay, so I want you to just hear that. They call us monkeys even though we're all equal. They call us monkeys even though we're all equal. See, in this African's mind, he still doesn't want to acknowledge that the people his grandfather befriended a couple of generations later don't look at him the way he keeps talking. This is the one problem I notice with Africans. They keep saying Jeremiah, and after Jeremiah, we're going to go City of Truth and then back to King Sigma. They keep saying, Jeremiah, we got the same blood. To me, you don't understand warfare if you're constantly saying that you're human, but these people are calling you monkey. And I don't know if you caught it, Jeremiah. Even the women are spitting at these guys.
I was just about to ask that. Even the women, I was going to say was that I couldn't hear it clear.
Yeah, go ahead. What are your thoughts, Jeremiah? Then we'll go to City of Truth.
Well, that's just the point I touched on. Within the last 10 or 12 years, everything changed. Even though Barack Obama didn't do much for black folks, but the perception of a black man being the president or something of that nature has changed the world opinion, particularly of, even though he's not ADOS black men. So within the last 500 years, ADOS black men has really been pushing what black, or what you call black or African, forward within the last 500 years. So if you look at Africa within the last 500 years, they haven't been really successful with anything. That's my point.
Very much so. Let's get a little bit more of this, then we'll hear from City of Truth.
For local anti-racist groups, Moroccans tend to openly abuse black Africans due to the government's discriminatory treatment of migrants.
You're in a country where the government very much targets black, sub-Saharan, illegal immigrants, down to the very words used to describe them. Immigrants are always linked to prostitution, AIDS, drugs, and human trafficking.
I find it very interesting. They're called illegal immigrants in the land that they were birthed at, and the Syrians are considered nationalists now. City of Truth, what are your thoughts?
The African guy, you said he's in Morocco doing that?
Yeah, he's a guy who's trying to just make his coin, and he said even if you're skilled, they are blocking you out just because of your skin tone.
Well, shit. If he didn't think he was black before that, I bet you he sees that now.
No, he didn't, because no, you didn't listen. You didn't listen. He doesn't see that because he said they spit at us when we got the same. They call us monkeys when we got the same blood that they got.
Okay, well, my thing is this: why don't he just? My thing is this: why don't he just leave and go to another country to make money? I mean, that's what I would do. I wouldn't stay in a place like that where they're that fucked up like that. You know, I would get the fuck up out of there.
Well, he's going to leave. Well, his goal is to probably leave and go to Spain or leave and go to America and then say, City of Truth, you're not working hard enough.
Or he's going to go to Italy or Spain and they're going to call him the same thing.
Yeah, they're going to call him the same thing.
Still thrown on the field, calling them monkeys, and they cried about it. They played on the same Italy or France team to help them win, and they're calling them monkeys.
But you could apply that to America as well, though. So you said you're in Texas, right? So, for example, I've heard from Black Texans that a lot of the recent, Latinos that are coming into Texas, that they're encroaching on areas that used to be black, and that they're actually coming in with the mentality that they are the ones that should be owning everything, and that they should be running things, and that they're the indigenous people, and that the blacks are the foreigners. So, and you know what that comes down to? It boils down to ownership, because.
But hold on, King Sigma. The thing is, what I'm always hearing from black people is just go somewhere else.
That ain't no.
I don't know what solution that is, but they constantly say, okay, if I get pushed out, if I'm not allowed to be a manager over here, just go somewhere else. You're still going to a place where other people have created.
Exactly, because
I'll say this, Mr. Research. It's the fact that you have to be, in order to really dominate in a place, you have to be the majority of the population so that you can dominate politically and financially. That's why places like, if you look at, let me finish. If you look at places like Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Houston, black people do very well in those places because they're the majority of the population, and they have a very strong financial position. But you look at places like California, especially Southern California, where the black middle class left in the 80s, okay, or they moved out to the suburbs, and in those inner city places, you were left with just basically the poor folks, the working class folks, and then they got supplanted by, the Mexicans and Costa Ricans, Hispanics and stuff that came in. Well, that's what happens when you remove your business class and your political class. You're going to get overtaken by another group.
That's the part I differ with you on. You agree with me on one thing. It's the business class. It ain't numbers. It's how many business class people we have, which is why I always push this thing about be a manager, supervisor, or owner, because those are the people who are connected to politics. Those are the people who really protect situation. It ain't just
Let me
numbers.
ask you, why has the black community not pushed managers the last 25 years? Why have we not done that?
Because they've thought that's nerdy. That at the end of the day, the reason why Black Americans in the last 3 generations have not pushed managerial, because there's a big anti-intellectual thread that has been running through Black America for generations, and no one wants to talk about it. Whereas in other cultures,
exactly,
like you were talking about the African women earlier, and what I'm trying to tell you is that when I talk to African women, bro, they love having a conversation about like how they're in school and how they're learning this, and they love to hear that you're knowledgeable about things and that you're open and learning about their culture. So their families teach them that education is a value, ownership is a value, controlling those are values that they grow up with. In Black America, they're not. We have a whole generation of people raised with the idea that doing those things is called being white. Do you understand how insulting it is to say to a Black child who has a high IQ, who has potential to lead, to be like next to Elon Musk or some shit like that, to tell him in his most vulnerable stage, say, you're acting white. And because
well, even worse than that, it's the whole work with your hands thing. I just, I never would have thought it was this easy to come up if I had a stuck doing warehouse and janitorial like I did back in the day. The minute I got my factory job, I was like, oh, this is what a union is? And even though they were sitting up here acting stupid, calling names, I was like, no, I ain't tripping off that. Look at all this money. Let's get it. And I used to say to white people who used to be just really focused on race shit, I'd be like, y'all tripping, man. I ain't focused on that shit.
Mr. Reeser, let me ask you this. The fact that we haven't been focusing on manager for the last 25 years, is that the white man's fault or is that our fault?
Man,
I'm gonna give my version. I'm gonna give my version. I know King Sigma Jeremiah might disagree. I think coddling Black women, our grandfathers coddling Black women led to all of this. I think, and here's what I mean by coddling. When you look at other countries, that especially the ones I've lived in, the women understand hard work and they understand that there's an appreciation for the protection that they have. And they realize they get out of line, those men in those countries will snatch back that ability to make that money. black women have been hiding behind the muscle of black men for so long. The black men helping his sister out on the streets just for being a sister for so long that our grandfathers would make sure a strange woman was hired before one of us black boys. So I put it on us. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
Well, actually, if you see what's going on, that's what's happening now. A lot of women are losing their jobs, and if you could say the manosphere or the MGTOW, they're not as quick to help a woman if she's out with a flat tire compared to 20, 30, 40 years ago. So a lot of that is kind of formulating now, as far as men are not pushing women on the pedestal.
Well, I was gonna say that like that line of reasoning that Mr. Research brought up is very interesting to me, because he's talking about how society for a certain amount of time has went through in the black community. One of you guys got a lot of background, but they went through the matrilineal line for things like when it's a dominant society over the last 30, 40 years, especially, they tried to promote the black female. But that's because it's easier to control them. So if you control the black female, you control the children, you control the household. And that's been going on for a very long time. So ultimately, when he was saying that, who do you blame? I'm going to tell you why I blame black people. Mr. Research is right specifically. But in general, one has to ask the question, if someone is able to take control of your life and your destiny, who do you blame for that? Who do you blame for being taken control of, like the African that you guys were listening to earlier? Mr. Research?
Let you guys hear a little bit of this conversation we had amongst.
You would say are strategic, and I understand. Pick up the swords too. I'm down with that. Pick up the swords too. You ain't got to tell me twice. But in picking up the swords, understand. We might have to get rid of the people who are secretly fighting for whites. So let me explain. When I come on here, sometimes I say stuff that sounds strange, and you got to take it with a grain of salt and mull it over, because I'm not trying to say anything from a point of not helping. It just sounds strange. Now let me put this point thing in about ADOS. ADOS, we're not against. Oh, okay. So there's three sides to ADOS. There's what Yvette's talking about, which is different from what Tone's talking about, which is different from most of us who are in it. Most of us who are in it, we just are looking at it from the identity standpoint. We wish we had a flag. We wish we had a language. Right? How do I explain that? The slavery in America is different from the slavery in England. In England, you were allowed to know your flag, and they thought it was cute that you were educated. Mm-hmm. In America, they didn't want you to have your language and didn't want you to know your flag. Okay? Right. So they didn't want you to know your. So the identity portion of ADOS is important, because when we travel, we see it's not like Haitians or. So
I got to skip up a little bit for this guy arguing.
Wasted your time with this whole thing with CA. Go on, Mike. Problem is this: when people talk, they don't specify the country they're talking about.
So the identity portion of ADOS.
So now this African is going to get upset,
because when we travel, we see it's not like
all because I said the word Africa.
Nigerians are guys.
That's crazy.
When y'all see a flag in Russia, you know you somewhat home. Whether that be your food, whether that be your language, you're able to go into that restaurant that's in Russia and look up on almost everything local to your culture. The Haitian doctor, the Haitian dentist. It's different as a person who doesn't have their grandfather's flag. We are limited to that red, white, and blue. Well, many times we go to Russia, it's a white guy there, and he has no identity to us. It's a different feel. So a lot of time when you guys see ADOS, don't think we're necessarily anti-something.
Here it comes.
Because you might have heard Yvette or Tone say that. Please understand, majority of it's identity.
We don't mind the Pan-African thing happening. Here's the only problem we see. We got to stop having this Crips and Bloods mentality in America and in Africa. We got to stop having people kill other Africans for the sake of white progress. You know, you shouldn't be killing nobody to begin with, because as everybody has said on these panels many a times, all the resources are there. Every computer, every lithium battery, it's all there. But the problem is our leaders keep giving contract to non-African people. Here's the point I was trying to make two panels ago. If we got 3 million Africans doing extremely well in America,
you're gonna like this part, King Sigma.
Stop giving it to these outsiders, because now these outsiders are trying to have babies on African soil so that their grandchildren will be considered African. Here's my question to the panel. Why did they make that Chinese guy a chief in Ghana?
Wow, sorry, they didn't make him a chief. They didn't make him a chief.
Oh, I'm sorry. Whatever they anointed him with, sergeant. Why?
It's title. It's African culture. When you come, it's just a title. A title does not give you power. Does not mean power. Let me explain it to you. In an African culture, an African tradition, when you come to an environment or a community and you invest there, the people give you a title. The title is just a name. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the panel. He said the title don't mean anything. This Chinese guy is on the shoulders of these Africans. They're patting him with leaves. They're jumping around. They're celebrating, and all he did was get awarded a contract.
Nonsense. Because again, you know what's so funny about you playing that part of the clip is that when you actually go back and look at like the conquistadors that conquered the Americas and those that conquered Africa, the same kind of thing happened with them, right? So it started off gradually as like the guy was trying to sell it. Oh, well, this is just kind of some kind of social pageantry, right? But he doesn't understand the power of image. He doesn't understand how assimilation works, and then how eventually you may be carrying them for like social pageantry today, but that person ends up becoming your colonizer and boss 10
every
years
time,
20 years later, because guess what ends up happening? The women, for example, let's take the women in those cultures. They will see this China man being carried by the black men.
There you go. Yep.
And they'll automatically uplift him as a higher status. You just, in your own group, gave him.
But hold on, King Sigma. My greatest point is you got these Nigerians, 3 million of them, saying how successful they are.
Yeah.
Why would you not just give one of them the contract? Or why would these 3 million doctors or managers not get together and form a company to to have that contract? I just don't understand.
Mr. Research, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the reason is because you have to understand, Mr. Research, these people are not you. Okay, see, you're thinking like that because...
Wait a minute, wait. They're not me, but they're always wagging the finger.
Listen. The reason you think like that,
but they're always wagging the finger at what Americans are not doing.
Hold on, Mr. Rich. The reason you think like that, the reason I think like that, is because we're Americans. So we're looking at it from a broader, business perspective. How come these people don't get let me finish. Hold on, let me finish. How come these people don't get together and start a company? How come these people don't get together and compete? You need to understand, when they come up out of Africa like that, and now they don't come over here to compete with the white man. Okay, they come over here to live good, to live like the white man lives. They don't come, it's up to us as ADOF. We the ones that end up having to compete because we have to, because the system discriminates against us and shuts us out, so we have to create our own stuff.
But they've experienced that in their own country. When you look at colonialism, and the last time I was on there, we were talking about King Leopold. They've built some of the biggest companies in the world history on the grounds of Africa. So the Africans know.
Yeah, but these was Europeans doing that.
They're still, where did Americans come from? Europe. They got.
You need to understand is that these people.
The Americans. You need to understand
that
you mentioned corporations. You got to talk about business. The American model for business started in Europe, in England.
Jump in whenever you wish, Jeremiah. Go ahead, you guys.
So these Africans are not foreign to discrimination and business and all of that. They come to America, because, like Mr. Research was saying earlier, they're the majority population in their own countries, but they're not willing to pick up that sword against this minority population in a meaningful enough way.
Because because you need to understand, we look at them.
In America, millions of black men, specifically, and black women that have supported them over the course of 400 years have been picking up the sword, fighting hundreds and hundreds of battles over 4 centuries. And now that the coast is clear and the forest is clear, and they're being brought over here with a red carpet laid out, now they want to get that VIP treatment. But that's not
okay. No, well, see, here's the thing, and I'm not condoning them, but you need to understand that when you talk about Africa, it's a lot more confident. I mean, it's a lot more complicated than that, because you need to understand you have classism in Africa just like you have in America. You have tribalism in Africa just like you have in America.
Why do I have to understand?
You have many. Hold on. You have many different dynamics, and I think a lot of times we look at them like, oh, they're the majority. Why don't they just kick out the white people? And
I'm looking at them from the standpoint that if they can open their mouth in a strategic way about Americans, open your mouth about your own land. Go ahead.
Because you need to understand, it's classism. It's the Africans who come over here oftentimes are the ones who were disenfranchised over there.
No,
you're wrong.
You're wrong.
No, a lot of times when they come over here,
you go too far.
Okay. Or they couldn't make enough money over there, or they didn't have opportunity, so they had to come over here. So you need to understand that.
You're talking about refugees. The majority of Africans that Mr. Research is referring to are actually those that are funded by the United States taxpayers over the course of generations.
Okay, but now let me ask you this.
Just let me finish.
Okay, wait a minute, gentlemen. I'm going to pause you guys for a minute. I'm going to let Jeremy get some of this. Jeremy, what are your thoughts?
As far as touched on the numerous topics, which like
go ahead, rock out. You got 30. You got 40 seconds. Go ahead. What do you feel?
Well, like Mr. King Sidney said, a lot of these Africans are disenfranchised when they come over, but that's why they're coming over here trying to, and like they're no different from like in America. They're over here just to get the bag. So a lot of these Africans is looking, if I can shoot this ADOS person down, I can come up.
What else you got?
That's my view on a lot of Africans out, because half of the stuff they do or say, they won't even stay in their own country. They over here, they know they have the freedom, and people that have been over here for years, hundreds of years, they feel like they have the birthright to speak over the ones that was here a long time ago. See, white people had this kind of cleansing in the 19th century, 20th century when the Italians, the Irish came over here. They're the ones off the Mayflower let them know first, hey, we over here, then you come stay. I think Black America or blacks have to have that same type of damn record.
Yeah, that's why I say I'm switching this channel to an African Black conversation. Let me let you guys hear this, and I'm going to go back to King Sigma and City Truth having their dispute.
It doesn't include you as a member of leadership in that community. So that's a misconception. It's very important that we study culture before we, start.
Okay, here's my second question. I have a second question. You're right, and thank you for that. So if his grandson says, "I'm from this title," 10 years, 20 years from now, does that carry weight?
Title does not transfer to children.
No. You're not answering. You're not. Okay. I understand you said it doesn't transfer, but what I'm asking you is, if the grandson says, "I'm from Mr. Shinshaw of this title," does that carry weight?
No.
Okay. All right. You answered my question. I stand corrected. Thank you very much.
Okay, so my thing is this. I saw that thing too that happened in Ghana. I don't care if it don't mean anything. I don't care. I don't feel like they should be doing that. I don't think that we would go to China and get titles. I don't think that nobody would be carrying this around their neck. But that's just my opinion.
So going back to what King Sigma, you and City of Truth are talking about, yeah, I believe the image is more important because I'm starting to realize Africans don't understand warfare. They understand how to kill. They understand how to throw a fist. They understand how to shoot a gun, but they truly don't understand warfare. And it's like, wow, no wonder you guys are killing each other, because I'm reading 1600 prints of a Ivory Coast. You're giving stuff away because you can't fight these other Africans. So you invite the French to come over here and make a trading post, and within 10 years, they now control the Ivory Coast. It's crazy that Africans really don't understand warfare. I mean, we're no better, to City of Truth's point. It ain't like we got super better, but Jesus, I think we understand white folks, City of Truth, Sigma, better than Africans do at this point.
Oh yeah, we.
All right, let me.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I was cut off before because you had your chance to speak, and I went to hit back before you went too far, and I'll give you the mic back. Look it.
Okay.
When you were talking about the whole thing about the Africans that come to the West, you were strictly focused on the refugee class. That's what they want to focus on. Africa receives, just from the United States government, something around 130 to 150 billion dollars per year. Now, we know that there's like 54 African nations, and it's not dispersed equally across those 54 nations. So let's say Nigeria, Ethiopia, Libya. There's probably like 4 or 5 of these nations that get the lion's share of this aid. Now, guess what? That aid is giving to certain political groups that are selected by Western nations, right? Amongst those groups, that money is dispersed to their favorites, their family members, their mistresses, and things like that. The money doesn't trickle down to the population. So what happens is that American taxpayers, you and myself and everyone else, ends up paying for an elite. We create an elite class of Africans over there for the benefit of the white dominant society across the West. So when they come here and they send their children here, you're thinking, oh, they're all refugees. No, they're not. Many of them have been living really, really good off of your taxpayer dollars. They're going to take your seat to the Ivy League because when they come here, you sent their child to private school in Africa. They might not even went to a private school in Africa. They might have went to private school for high school in Europe, and then they come to the United States for college because, again, blacks have fought all the battles on the social and the political field to open up these doors for them. So when they get here, they're not this downtrodden refugee that you see in the fucking Catholic food commercials, bro. A lot of these people that have come here, they are elites created by the American taxpayer. And so when they come here, they look like you and I, but they have nothing in common with us besides our skin tone. And they get a red carpet to success and social mobility in America while being 100% out of touch with the cultural struggles of American blacks, but also while believing they can look down on us because, again, we paid for them to be elite in their country, to experience an elite life in Europe. And then when they come here, they're looking at us like, why are things so bad for you? Guess what? Because the resources of that 150 billion that's going to Africa, and I forgot what it is for Israel, that shit should be coming back to American workers and native-born Americans, 100%.
Okay, now let me say this. It goes back to that point that I made way earlier about the and that immigrants.
Can't hear you, man.
Hello. City of Truth, you muted yourself.
I can hear Mr. Research, but I can't hear the other guy.
City of Truth seemed like he muted himself. I'm gonna go back to what Jeremy just said. Okay, yeah, you had muted yourself, sir. You were so passionate, you muted yourself. Hold on for a minute. Let me go to what Jeremy was saying. Oh, you got something going on with your stuff, man. Jeremy was saying that a lot of even blacks don't understand warfare. and how that operates. You know, the point we raise over here all the time, how people will sell off their own daughter to make sure they get some land. That's a very good point. City of Truth, can you hear? Can you hear anything, City of Truth? City of Truth. Okay, I guess he's in a bad spot. Okay. So yeah, Jeremy was just saying how you know, even a lot of us as African Americans don't understand warfare. So that is a great point. Yeah, City of Truth fell off. Go ahead, Jeremy, with your thing. Now that there's an open part of the mic, go ahead. King Sigma's still here.
Well, yeah. As far as regarding warfare, you can look at it and look at Mexico and Puerto Rico to this day. The Spanish was practicing warfare. Now, I do have millions of people calling themselves Spanish, even though it's not as true as much as it is today. They probably don't call themselves as Spanish as much as they used to. But that was a tactical warfare.
Right. I think it's unfortunate all the way around, because when I look at stuff, King Sigma, kind of like the way you look at stuff, I look at Africans are putting themselves in position to be the white person's ally so much, and at the same time you know, when I look at this trade deal, for example, King Sigma, you're trading one master for two masters. The details show that the Arab nations and the Chinese are going to control all this now.
Facts.
And who to say 3 years or 5 years later they're not going to be hitting you with tariffs?
It could get even worse than that, though, bro. Like, when, you know, with the little storming of the Capitol this week, I think it's going to be a little bit worse than we think, though, Mr. Research. So what you were saying about the trade thing, that's been in effect for like since the 70s. But I think that politically, there's a vacuum that's been created in America by the kind of neoliberal policies that you're speaking of, you know, with the NAFTA, with Reagan, because again, this ain't no political party thing. The Republicans and the Democrats are both corporatists in the way that they operated through NAFTA and other trade deals over the last 50 years. And they did it on purpose because, again, they were just
that was Jeremiah's point and City of Truth's point. Yeah,
go ahead. They were enriching themselves at the expense of the working people of America. And so when you talk about this disenfranchised white people that were a part of that Capitol storming, that's where it came from. No one wants to talk about the fact that those neoliberal policies that you're mentioning with the trade deals, it's created this situation where the American dream has been destroyed over the last 40 years. The idea of an American exceptionalism, like, you know, through the wars like the Vietnam War and the Iraq wars, it's undermined the credibility of the United States on every level. So the Chinese and these countries have just been sitting back, taking advantage of these trade deals, doing creating the product at the cheapest price, while the American working people, the buffer, has been totally gutted. Where it's like, you don't, the middle class is shrinking by the day. So that's why in 2021 we just literally saw a storming of the Bastille 2.0 situation here in the United States. And most people don't get that. This shit didn't happen in one day. It wasn't just Trump. This thing has been a 40, 50-year process.
Yeah.
And guess what? Most people that saw that, they're so apathetic and out of touch with the politicians. Because again, when we look at surveys of the political institutions of the United States, the mass media, for at least the last 30 years, the American people overwhelmingly, they have no trust in Congress. They have no trust in the presidency. They have no trust in corporate America, and they have no trust in the media. Here's the problem with that. The America system is based off of the idea of representative public. It's not like a theocracy where it don't matter what your opinion is about the clergy. The clergy rule with an iron fist with the rod of God. The monarchy, they rule with the iron fist of the king. A republican requires a certain level of education of the population, but more than anything, a trust and a faith in
30 seconds.
Yeah, because unlike those theocracies where the faith is in a God, in a republic, the faith is in the forms of the government and its institutions. So this whole thing might crumble in the next 20 years for all we know.
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. Jeremiah. I totally agree with that. How do you view that, Jeremiah?
Well, as far as the storming of the Capitol, from what I've seen, a lot of black folks, to some degree, scared and looking at that saying, if that was black people, would have got shot down.
Oh,
of course, you're
yeah.
absolutely right.
Shit.
Right,
Biden said that.
Right. But here, this is the point people missing. We haven't seen Americans or white Americans act in this state for the last 80 years. And since World War II, when stuff get really bad, they turn to savagery mode. And yeah, you might see a couple of civil rights leaders get killed, the president, but no one really seen this in their lifetime. And people that seen it there in the 80s and 90s, they were real young when they seen white people turn on other white people. That's why so many black people are scared then. I didn't know white people act like this. Oh, they've been acting like this. Revolutionary War, Abraham Lincoln, Robert E. Lee. They turned on each other all through history. Go back to medieval times. This is nothing new.
Yeah, and that was to King Sigma's point. Also, both of you guys are agreeing. You know what? Here's what I see moving forward. I think Americans, black males. I'm not even focused on women no more. 7.0 thinking type of dudes that's thinking beyond women. I think it's time for us to start just bonding with other guys and really putting this patriarch stuff in overdrive on some I don't care stuff. And ultimately, you're going to need a leader. I'm sorry. You may not like it, but somebody's going to have to do an Ice Cube to some degree. You may not follow that guy, but you're going to have to get him out there and protect his situation because it's just getting too much now. We're in a situation, I feel, gentlemen, that we're going to have to teach the Africans how to be black.
See, I prefer the term representative or spokesperson than leader.
Okay, representative, spokesperson.
Representative or a spokesperson. And you need negotiators for sure. But they're not see what I'm saying, when you say leader, a lot of black people start putting all of their weight on that person. Whereas
I agree.
They're just a messenger, or if you say representative, they have a certain agenda to push. And if they don't push that agenda, they're out the door, next person in. So I agree with you on that. But I'm just saying that I think that a lot of, like, let's take, for example, the pro-blacks that have been fighting for a black republic. They've been begging for it, right? These black folks have been out here begging for war with whites. Well, guess what? From my prediction, and I know that Mr. Research, they think that he'd be out there and they think that I'm out there with these predictions. But if things go the way I think they could possibly go from the break that I saw this week in America, in the polarity of this country, I see a situation where America could break up into like 3 or 4 pieces where, like, because there's a strong communist element in America, that identity politics that does not include the identity of black male, but it includes everyone else. So you got that group. Then you got like the white ethno-nationalist group that we saw storming, where they might even get on this shit where they might say, you know what, we're going to succeed from the United States and we're going to create our own white ethno-nationalist kind of structure within America. And then you're going to have those in the middle that are more like the brothers on the panel who we're just trying to live our lives in America. I would call it like an open republic situation where I could see America breaking up. And then the pro-blacks that have been saying all these things, well, guess what? I hope you've been preparing for state building. I hope that you prepare for the kind of warfare that Mr. Research was mentioning, because the moment that y'all been talking about, we may live to see this shit, bro.
Right. Much
in America. What if you look at the international news?
Hold on, King Sigma. Hold on, King Sigma. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
No, I think we will live to see it, and all this stuff they have going on. Like I said, when Biden get in office, which he probably will, I don't think it will be ever a peaceful day in America, because them guys are not gonna let that down.
Nope, you're right. You're 100% right. I think it's like Abraham Lincoln. If you go back to Lincoln wasn't the reason. He was just the pin. He was that last straw.
Representative.
Yeah, he was the one that represented a certain change in America that half of the country didn't want to see. And I think Biden is the same, but not for the same reason. Biden represents, for those whites that stormed the Capitol, like a total destruction of a culture that they don't want to let go of, and the kind of neoliberal policy that we've been talking about that will put them in a complete poverty. So they see this as life or death now. This, I know some people taking this shit lightly. What happened at the Capitol? This shit is serious, bro.
Yeah. This shit is real serious. And you know, go ahead, Jeremiah. Then we'll go to City of Truth.
Well, what I see is everyone saying what Biden will do is he's gonna be like an FDR. I see Congress gonna be enacting more like policies of FDR, but Biden is more like an LBJ. He's gonna come in. He's racist off his ass, and he's gonna say a bunch of things, but he's gonna try to create a new society. A new society that white people are not agreeing with because their boy Trump did not get in office, and it's still like they've been cheated for the last 40 years. But it's
like I go to white people and tell them it's really not a Trump thing or a Biden thing or even a Democrat thing. The policies of their favorite Reagan, the policies of the Democrat favorite Clinton have backfired. The same thing King Sigma said. I mean, every time I talk with white people, and you guys saw me talk to that white guy, Chris, on this channel, they like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. There's a lot of stuff you don't know. You just looking at it from the standpoint of black and liberals. That's all they know now. They don't even realize, wait a minute, we're actually screwing this up. Go ahead, Jeremiah, then we'll go to City of Truth.
Yeah, so like I said, Biden's going to bring in a society that they're not ready for, nor they to ask for. They felt like Biden was pushed on them. They felt like Kamala is pushed on them. And they felt like they're losing their jobs. They're not getting the proper resources that they want. It used to be 40 years ago, you was a white guy, you was the thing. You walk in, you had a job, you could be straight out of prison, you get a job. You're a white guy today, it really means that. That white skin doesn't take you very far. And they don't like that.
But again, it's up to us as the 7.0 beyond women thinking guys. We got to start telling white dudes, look, don't be mad at us. You guys brought these immigrants, and don't even blame liberals. Ronald Reagan brought these immigrants in. City of Truth, welcome back. We're going to start wrapping up. Give me your final thoughts, City of Truth. You got 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, to be realistic with you, Mr. Research, when it comes to the immigrants, that has to do with the deep state. And it has to do with globalism and globalists that are in our government and stuff like that. There's a reason why they want to bring all these Indian people over here to program computers. There's a reason why they want to bring all these Africans over here to work in government and on the state level and on the federal level and be police officers and police chiefs and stuff. There's a reason why they bring all these Mexicans and stuff over here for the cheap labor and stuff. And for the same reason why China puts so many of their people in Africa. Okay, so there's a reason. Hold on, bro. There's a reason for that. There's a strategic reason for that. And what I'm saying is that what the brother was saying is that all of those things that are affecting, you're talking about, well, the white guys brought, the white people brought the immigrants in here. No, I had nothing to do with them. That was globalism. And as far as them, learning, becoming informed.
So what you're trying to say is that's just the way it is because globalism dictates everybody's work.
Yes, okay. And that's how it works. That's how it works. It has nothing to do. And now, as far as people being informed about it, yeah, there are people informed about it to one degree or another. Alex Jones has talked about it for years.
What do you feel about the countries that are not participating in globalism, as you stated?
Those countries will probably be the countries that get left behind. That's just how it is.
Okay, go ahead.
You know what I mean? That's just kind of how I feel like. Look at Cuba. Look how long they've been isolated. Okay, they still driving 1955 Chevrolets and stuff.
No. But that wasn't by their own design. Those were tariffs.
But that's an example.
That's not an example. Not an example.
So
It's not an example at all. That's you trying to make it an example. Doesn't mean an example,
bro. Cuba's not
those tariffs. Those are totally different.
Yeah.
So I understand you talk about because they were isolated, but they were not isolated by their own making. They were isolated due to tariffs. So it's the same thing China's going through now. So because China doesn't have a bunch of black people living there, due to the tariffs that they kicked out a bunch of non-Chinese. Are you saying? Are you using that same energy for China?
Look, regardless. Okay, they kicked out. They kicked out some Africans.
Is China global? Is China global? That's my question.
China definitely is global. And
so why they kick out all those people?
They kicked out Africans, but I know they didn't kick out all of them.
Whites too.
They kicked out whites. They kicked, But the
you said they're global.
reality is, they are. I doesn't stop them from being global. Okay, just because they kick a few people out, that doesn't stop the situation. But the reality is that when it comes to the United States, okay, and the situation over here, okay, these people are, they need immigrants for a reason. They need them to buy these houses that you see them building around. They need them to buy these mortgages, buy all these cars that you see these car manufacturer making. They need them. They need somebody to, they need debt so they can monetize it and stuff like that. They need them to get credit card debt and that kind of thing. There's a reason they need a consumer class. There's a reason they bring all these people here, and personally, I think that instead of fighting that, because I don't think you can fight it, because it's not something that's within our control. What you should do is try to get out in front of it so you can benefit from it. That's just how my logical mind works. I'm not saying that if that's right or wrong. That's just how I see it.
I think it's interesting to the consumer class because I understand the argument that you're making, but to me, it's like it's been proven that
Jeremy, you got the final word after King Sigma. Go ahead, King Sigma.
Actually have a higher savings rate and consume less and become creditors more than consumers. Americans are the biggest consumer population in world history. So if you want to groom a consumer class, you would focus on putting more money in native-born Americans' pockets. They're a much bigger consumer class historically, whereas those people that you're referring to,
wait, King Sigma, isn't that what England just did?
Is that with the Brexit, right?
Yeah.
And I would say my last point is this. I'm not the conspiracy theorist type of dude, but when I look at the situation with Biden and the kind of hopes that people are putting on him, you guys better do your history on Ulysses Grant and Nero of Rome. I'm in a situation very similar to like a Ulysses Grant or some shit like that. This dude don't know what to do. He was put up there by the corporate media. Without them covering up many of his crimes and his weaknesses, he wouldn't have been elected the president, period. So with the climate that we have in America right now, with the polarity, with the debt that the government has right now, and you look at like just the whole growing number of protests on both sides, because again, we had protests going back to
30 seconds.
Where in my state, they burned down $500 million of property that will never be reimbursed. So that's one group. And now you got the other side coming out, these white nationalist supremacists. Now they're saying it's our time to protest. We have a powder keg that's about to explode in America. When you have people bold enough to attack the Capitol and they represent like 75 million to 80 million people, you better start getting some target practice in, and you better start shit about to get real in America, boy.
Hold on. Let's go to Jeremiah. You got the last word, Jeremiah. Then I'm going to say what I say. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
As far as Mr. Research always touch on my generation, I think me and King Sigma and City of Truth was in the same age category. The baby boomers are done. They're not looking for that. Biden is just a prop. They're gonna look for us to push this new socialist economy. They say that the millennials is early 80s. I don't believe that. I really think they start from 85 all the way up to like 98. They're looking for us to push this new socialist economy. They skipped over Generation X, and I believe they're gonna skip over Generation Z. And they're gonna hand us all this new. If you want to be socialist and make everyone poor, people in our age category in their 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, you the guys to push.
Hey,
Kamala and Biden is just a prop.
So we got one of our brothers who says spending more energy worrying about the world as if it has answers when the real opportunity is right up underneath your feet. Hey, I try to tell people everything is local, man. 30 seconds, Jeremiah.
Oh, that's my point. Just, guys who born from 85 on, they're looking for you to push this socialist economy. I believe they gave Generation X, even when I was growing up, when I was a kid, they said the X, they didn't know what to do with Z. They're going to skip over them too. You guys are going to be the guys who are going to push this communist, socialist economy on the rest of the world. As you can see, the guy in Georgia is 33. He got elected to Senate. The other guy's just a black state.
I think I'm going to talk about something nobody has mentioned yet in my closing statements. I look at it like this: no matter who's right or who's wrong in this discussion, I'm glad you guys came through. I'm trying to invite more Africans over here to have these discussions. I sent a message out to quite a few of them. They didn't make it now, but I'll try to do something later. We've got to have discussions with these Africans, because what I realize is Africans are not really having discussions with intellectual black people, especially black men. I don't like making long speeches about stuff. Or the whole maybe, could be, it might work type of people. People can feel what they want to. That's what an opinion is, but that don't move the needle. I look at it like this, gentlemen. At some point in time, India is going to take all this internet stuff away from America because they did it with telecom.
Thank you.
This stuff is all going to fall. It's going to go back to country life, country living. And I will put something put something on the black men. If we don't stop coddling these black women and bring them under financial force, what I mean by financial is every man needs to have that lawyer game right. Every man needs to financially back laws that benefit men. Every man needs to shame his white friends, his white male friends, for not backing male laws. Shame his male colleagues, because warriors don't feel shame. I don't care about shaming talk. You can never shame me on anything. And I just think we got to bring it back, gentlemen. We've coddled them way too long, and we're coddling some of these young boy criminals and these young guys who want to destroy black culture because they're hiding behind women. You even got people in these spaces that don't like holding debates or discussions. They like to hide behind other people. I've been on too many black panels where I had to curse people out because they're saying stuff in a disrespectful way that has nothing to do with the topic and nothing to do with defeating me on research and logic. It's insults. It's all this type of stuff. And then when you say something, then their little crew gets upset. It's like, man, come on, man. You guys are too old for that shit. Oh, Mr. Research, you trying to sound gangster. Well, it seems like y'all want that type of smoke because I came to talk about the intellectual topic, and all I hear is you. And I'm like, what the fuck? No wonder white people are taking over. No wonder white people are taking over. And with that, I'm going to close on my favorite African song. Hey, the white man, man. Yes. Hold on. I'm in the middle of my song. Yeah, the white man, ice is cold. The white man. Get away from me, you African American. Yeah, the white man. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
That shit is real. What you just said, though. It do seem like that.
Trump supporters were not old people in their 80s and 60s and 50s. These guys were 35 and under that were storming that Capitol. So just to give you a food for thought.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for tuning in, man, and people laughing at my song. I'm gonna start making that thing, man. White man, ice is cold.
You gotta put that on the track. That shit is hilarious.
White man, ice is cold. Hey, the white man, the white man.
That's like some African coon Lion King shit.
Shit. I love Africans, really I do. But like I said, they just don't understand warfare, and it's like, when I get on these things with them, and I'm gonna try to upload some of them here, but they just don't talk like they under. Well, did you hear that? Did you hear that black guy from Morocco? The guy is darker than me.
Yeah. Don't they got a lot of slavery out there though? Don't they got a lot of black skins that are enslaved by the North Africans and Arabs out there?
That's what I'm saying. That's what, dude. This dude literally said they call us monkeys, and even the women spit at us when we got the same blood as them. Well, we got the same blood as them. That's your answer for a woman spit on you and a man calling you a monkey?
Hey, the white man.
The white man. The white man. Don't you understand? I'm human too.
Hey, soon they're gonna be saying the Chinaman. Soon they're gonna be saying, hey, the white man and the Chinaman.
And the Arab. It's crazy, man. It's like, come on, fellas, y'all gotta. And then they're like, all Africans are not the same, and that's your problem, because when it comes to fighting, and again, I'm reading this thing. I don't know this prince's name. I can't pronounce it. It starts with an A, but you're just giving away everything.
Well, they were unified.
Wait, hold on. You're giving away everything for a ship you can't even sail yourself. And you stay right next to the water, and none of your African people swim. How is this possible?
That's crazy.
Are you serious? You don't understand warfare. If you're the king, every child needs to be in the water swimming. Every child needs to be able to do a lap out to the buoy and back. You mean you got all these people and they scared of the water? And you're the king? So you got to go get gunships from France? And look how far away France is. And that's on the other side of Spain. You on the other side of Mali. Are you serious?
Crazy. It's neocolonialism, bro. It never ended. That's what you got.
Here I come as an ADOS. I tell you, hey, my brother, matter of fact, his cousin told him that this whole thing was stupid. You up here, it's just like, I just don't understand it, man. This is why I say I'm just gonna start having these African and Black. That's why I'm just gonna label all these titles, African and Black, because we need to have these conversations at the forefront. I was going to have a bunch of Africans on, and they heard some of my stuff and said, no, I don't think I can have a conversation with you. And I'm like, do you want me just to agree? Is this what it is? You just want me to agree?
I don't think you got to worry too much about it, Mr. Research, because I know that, like I said, it sounds conspiracy like what I just said, but I'm not playing around, bro. I'm telling you, what I just saw was very like similar to how Germany fell. You know, when Germany fell to Nazis, people that have never studied like the 1930s and how the Nazis, they used the system they were in, but it was because like all the institutions in that German Republic, the people didn't support it because they looked at the leadership as failures. They looked at the Republican representation as failures. They looked at the failure in World War I and II. They looked at all of that as being, you know what? We need a new system. And I'm trying to tell people, we have literally two Americas right now. And I mean culturally, politically, and economically. You mentioned the globalization thing is on one side. And then you got the populist isolationists on another. Then you got the pro-religious people. Then you got the anti-religious. Then you got the race and then the non-race. Bro, I feel like really seriously that American institutions, that there's enough apathy out there where most people don't even know which way to turn right now. And that's what it's a vacuum. Just like the Nazis, when they came into Germany, there were other groups that were competing to fill that vacuum in Germany. Like the communists was there. They had different groups there, the monarchs people. But the Nazis, had the agenda that spoke to the greatest number of German people, and that's why they were able to implement their program during the short time that they were in power. But I'm telling you, I know people will hate to hear this, but America is in a very similar predicament as Weimar Germany, and that was only 80 years ago or so. Shit is real. This ain't a game no more. It's not a game. And if you're sitting up here in 2021 thinking, oh, Daddy Biden is going to come in on a fucking horse and save this thing, you better go do some more history, bro. They thought the same thing about the president of Weimar Germany. Everything looked good. They were talking all this stuff.
I just had somebody send me a message back. I'm not black. I'm a white supremacist. take me off your list. And I said,
games, man. It's all games. It's all games.
I said, that's cool. I'd like to talk to you about Reagan, but I'll take you off the list.
And then you and I have already talked about Reagan plenty. This guy, he was the father of feminism, political feminism.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta go jog, man. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you, King Sigma. Yeah, all right, let's keep it 7.0. Thinking beyond women, man. Much love to y'all.
Next time.
The white man, the white man. His ice is cold, so cold. The white man, the white man. All right, then. Talk to you guys later. Peace.